Level insurance was designed by plaintiff lawyers for plaintiff lawyers. And it really was done to try and tackle a lot of problems that historically people who do contingency work have had. For whatever reason, lawyers who take on cases on behalf of victims have always felt that it's their responsibility to advance all the expenses for their client and have absolutely no way to recover that in the event that they lose the case. In truth, in most states, the client is technically responsible for all of those costs, but the lawyers never actually make the clients pay those costs because they see it as part of their contingency fee. So they're getting a fee, and then they're also getting their costs back, but if they lose, they get none of it. What level insurance does is it provides lawyers a safety net so that if they lose their case at trial, they're not going to earn any of the fee because that's fully contingent. They're not going to get any of the money that they would have otherwise earned if they were successful. However, all the money that they invested in all their expenses, all their hard costs, that's at least something that they can recover to make that loss sting a little bit less. So it is an absolute game changer for any law practice. Because if you think about it, a lawyer at any one time could have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars on the street in case expenses. The thought is, and the expectation is that they're going to get all that back when they settle their cases, when their case is at trial. But all it takes is one loss to lose a significant amount of that money. And that's money that they're never going to get back. So what level insurance does is it provides a way for lawyers to be able to protect themselves. Now, when you take that case through to trial and you lose, which every single good trial lawyer loses cases at trial, when they lose that case at trial, they're not going to get paid a fee, but at least every dollar that they spend is going to come back to them. And think about all the money that lawyers spend on cases, right? There's the simple stuff like filing fees, medical records, subpoenas. That's all sort of small dollar items and comes up to a couple $1,000s. But once you need to start hiring experts, take depositions, travel, that stuff gets extremely expensive. I mean, in my own experience, in medical malpractice cases, one expert to review your case can have a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 bill associated with it. When you have to get multiple experts in that case, the numbers go up exponentially and the risk is just enormous. So what level insurance does is it removes that risk. So that's an obvious use, right? That's an obvious way that can change the practice. But what else does it do? There are a lot of times where lawyers are litigating cases and things don't go as well as they may have expected. A deposition goes bad. There's testimony they did not expect. There's new evidence that they were not aware of when they first took the case on. But they're already in deep. They've already spent $50,000, $100,000, $250,000 on the case. So what do? I've heard so many lawyers say, I just need to settle this case to get my costs back. That puts you at an immediate conflict with your client because in truth, you're not supposed to be thinking about yourself when you litigate these cases. You're supposed to be thinking about what is in the best interest of your client. But if you're starting to worry that the case is going to go bad or that you're going to lose and you have all this money invested in the case, all of a sudden you don't care one bit about your time. You don't care at all about your fee. All you care about is how am I going to get that $50,000, $100,000, $250,000 back? And that becomes your focus. Level insurance removes that concern altogether. Now, if things don't go as well as expected, you never have to worry about a potential conflict between your own financial situation and your client's best interest. Instead, you can litigate the case, you do your best, you put in your best effort, you try and get the best result for your client. If you happen to lose, that money that you would have otherwise settled for to get your costs back is now paid for by us and not by you. So it really changes the whole mentality. It allows a trial lawyer to never take their focus off the best interest of their client. It allows a trial lawyer to forget about their own financial interest and only focus on the interest of their client. And that has some cascading effects. Obviously, you should be focusing on your client. But at that point, you erase any concern about legal malpractice claims for not doing the right thing. You erase any ethical considerations that might come up if you're not doing the right thing to protect your own financial interests. This allows for sole focus to go on the case and the case only. There's also the sword side of this, right? So I'm talking a lot about the shield. And level insurance provides an obvious shield. Everyone knows the shield is your expense protection, your ethical protections, the considerations that you're going to give to your client's case. But then there's a sword. Right now, one of the biggest advantages that the defense has in every case, no matter how rich you are as a plaintiff's lawyer, is that they have more money than you. They can spend more money than you, and they will spend more money than you to win the case. Much money as they have to win because they have endless resources. But one of the things that they do is they threaten you with those expenses. You go to mediation and a defense lawyer or an insurance adjuster says, we're just gonna hire more experts. We're gonna spend more money. We're not gonna stop until this case is over, and we're eventually gonna bleed you dry with the money that you wanna spend. With Level Insurance, you go into that mediation, you hand them a piece of paper and you say, I don't care what you're gonna spend. I don't care what your strategy is for trying to outspend, because every dollar that I spend, and I will spend a lot because I have this protection, every dollar I spend, I'm gonna get back. So that risk that you think you're putting on me, that threat that you think you're putting on me as to what you're gonna do to outspend me, it no longer exists. And we've been told directly by plaintiff lawyers that have used Level Insurance that when they use Level Insurance as a sword and not just as a shield, it actually increases the settlement value of their cases. So you can actually experience a true return on investment when you have Level Insurance. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you buy $100,000 in coverage for a medical malpractice case. That $100,000 is going to cost you $7,000 to insure. It's 7% every time, all the time. So that $7,000 is now an expense, right? If you go into mediation and you present the defense with that policy and say, I am not afraid to spend whatever it takes to get the best result for that case, and you increase your settlement value by $1 more than $7,000, that investment is a tremendous investment and has returned a lot of money to you. You also don't have to actually worry about paying for the insurance, which is the best part about it. Sure, you buy the insurance up front, but there's legal opinions, ethical opinions in at least 3 states that say that the cost of the premium for Level Insurance is a passable expense to the client, which means if you disclose that you're going to buy Level Insurance in your client contract, when the case resolves, it's a line item. It's an expense, and you get the money back. So there's 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, you take the case to trial and you lose, God forbid, you get every dollar that you spend back. Scenario 2, you settle and or win the case at trial and you get paid insurance premium as a line item on your closing statement, and you get that money back directly from your client's settlement proceeds. So it becomes a total no-brainer. It changes the game completely for plaintiff lawyers all throughout the United States. It gives you power, it gives you authority, it gives you strength that you might not have otherwise had, and it really puts the ball in your court to do whatever you need to do to get the best result for your client. And I'm telling you, if you've used Level Insurance before, you already know the feeling that it will give you of power when you're going into a courtroom or into a mediation. If you have not used it, all you have to do is buy one policy, compare how you feel spending money on that case that's insured versus how you feel on your uninsured cases. I promise you that you will be more willing and more excited to go out and spend the money on the cases that are already insured versus the ones that are not. And you're going to want to insure all of your cases.